So, history of Earthrounders. There is a summary. First, I will talk about the 100 years of history of round the world flight. And there are various motivations for people to fly around the world. There are record-setting flights, real first, speed records, etc. Some people just want to get a certificate. I've done it, and they are often short of time, so they do it in maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. And then there are people like Marty and Gerard, Angela and myself. They want to do a leisurely slow flight, discover cultures around the world. And then there is the fourth group that are the round the world rallies and races, is sort of packaged to around the world. It has the advantage that you don't have all the red tape. You have a single person who looks after the red tape for everybody. And then the second half of the talk is a bit about the Earthrounders Association, the creation of OSCROS, the website, the database notice board, and finally the meetings. Record-setting flight. Carol Ann will talk about the first flight around the world in 1924, 100 years ago. And I just picked a few spectacular flights, like the first non-refueled, non-stop circumnavigation with the Rutan Voyager, designed by Rutan. And I followed it day for day. It was very exciting. They flew for 9 days, 3 minutes and 44 seconds, and they had about an hour of fuel left when they landed. And then there was Steve Fawcett, who did the first, also non-refueled, but solo flight around the world. So again, it was Bert Rutan who designed the Virgin Atlantic global flight, 2 days, 9 hours east. That's a long time to sit in the cold. And then there's the first non-stop flight around the world by balloon. And I like to mention that because I've been living in Switzerland for 50 years, and Bertrand Piccard, he is a fantastic guy to motivate people to collect funding for challenging projects like the balloon flight around the world. And I remember him coming back to Geneva after the landing in 1990. Another for me, very emotional flight was the first solar-powered circumnavigation by André Borsberg and Bertrand Piccard. Solar Impulse 2, Hotel Bourgeois in India Bravo. They had 2 prototypes built. The whole project cost about $300 million, and they found investors for it. Impressive. And they almost did not make it. They had, the longest flight was from Hawaii to California. We were in Alaska at the time. I followed the landing, and after they landed, they had damaged the batteries, and they were running out of money, but somehow they found the money and replaced the batteries and finished. And then I'll mention a few many records I think, but a couple of them are very close to my heart. And one of them is Carol Ann Garrett and Carol Foigo, who's here. And I was a part of the ground team, and I remember the affect of it was very exciting. And then I was able to follow very closely the speed record eastbound and westbound by Hans-Georg Schmidt in a home-built Long East, which is the same plane as Linda and Patrick had. And here is the Rutan Voyager, which was the first non-stop on-refuel flight around the world. And this is, again, Rutan's Virgin Atlantic global flight, which did the solar flight up. And they went up high, profited from the jet stream. And then there is the Breitling Orbiter, which I also followed. It's a very Swiss project, and the study of the meteorology is very important for succeeding. And I attended the party in Geneva Airport when Brian Jones and Bertrand Piccard came back. And this is the picture of the solar impulse. This was the prototype Hotel Bravo Sierra India Alpha, landing in Brussels after the first international flight on 13th of May 2011. A few months before that landing, I had the pleasure to attend an aviator dinner meeting in Geneva, where the project leader and engineer behind it all, André Borsberg, he was present. And he explained the physics parameters in aerodynamics, in solar power, in batteries, put all the equation into a computer, and then you come out with, you have to make an airplane which has the wingspan of an Airbus 380, the weight of a car, the speed of a bicycle, you saw the bike going along with the landing, and the power of a scooter. So you see wingspan 64 meters, 1,600 kilos, takeoff speed 35 kilometers an hour, and the power of 40 horsepower. So I was sitting next to André Borsberg for 2 hours, talking engineering, aerodynamics, fascinating. And he was present at our last meeting. Now, there is a new challenging. It's again Bertrand Piccard. He's teaming up with a sailor. He's done several trips around the world with a sailboat made out of carbon fiber. He is a structural engineer in composites. His name is a Frenchman called Raphael Dinelli, and he lives in Saint-Dolan on the west coast of France. And they have got financing and engineering support from Airbus, from Daher, all the high-tech aeronautical companies in Europe, and they are trying to build a liquid hydrogen-powered airplane with electric engine, hydrogen fuel cells. And the challenges are that the cryogenic reservoirs, the only way to keep hydrogen on board an airplane is to cool it down to minus 265 degrees. You need a very high degree of insulation. The liquid hydrogen has a comparable energy density in kilowatt hours per weight unit of kerosene or Jet A1, but the density is 10 times lower. It's very light, which means the reservoirs need to have a huge volume. And I happen to live near to Tar Airport. Next year, the first test flights are scheduled to take place in Tar, and they hope to do endurance test flight in 2027, and maybe by the time we're having the next Earthrounders meeting somewhere, they will do the round move. And how am I doing for time?
Way over.
A few weeks ago, Bertrand Piccard, he got promoted to the rank of officer leading, honored by ex-President François Hollande, for his effort in renewable energies.